Morning, everyone, and welcome to the non-revenue rail maintenance non-revenue rail maintenance facility DBE virtual outreach event. My name is Juan Pablo Prieto, and I'm the Director of Diversity Programs at CTA. Before we get started, I did want to let everyone know this session is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel, CTA Doors Opening, later this week. We're excited to continue to partner with our prime contractor, Clark Construction, on bringing opportunities to the DBE community. Today, you will hear the team describe the non-revenue rail vehicle maintenance facility project, the goals associated with the project, and more importantly, the opportunities that you all can compete for. Please make sure to ask any questions you may have. We want everyone to have as much information as they need to be competitive for these opportunities. I want to thank Chanel Harmon, Charles Freeman, and Laura de Castro from CTA, and Javed Abudarabi and Jenny Davis from Clark Construction for putting this today's event together. On this slide, you can see part of the team responsible for different aspects of the project, along with contact information. As many of you have heard me say before, Diversity Programs is your #1 advocate within CTA. Please feel free to contact us with any questions or concerns you have regarding CTA contracting opportunities. We at CTA view our goals as the floor, and we expect our contractors to reach for the ceiling. That wouldn't be possible without the DBE community. So again, thank you for joining us. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Javed from Prog Construction.
Thank you, JP, and good morning to everybody. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday morning. And like JP introduced, I'm Javed Abudarabi. I lead the business development and business diversity for Clark Construction. I'm joined today with Jenny Davis, who you'll hear from here shortly as part of the presentation. I quickly just wanted to give a little bit of background on the past year, and obviously it's been a very active year, and I feel like we've all been making up for lost time from 2020, given the circumstances. But this effort that our whole team alongside CTA, we embarked over a year ago, actually, I would say tail end of 2019, in beginning our pursuit for this project. And as 2020 rolled on, we were able to start to plan and assemble our team for this important project. You're going to hear a lot about the function, the responsibilities, the features of this facility, and then ultimately we'll talk a little bit about the schedule. But Chanel, if you go to the next slide, I want everybody to get to know our team. We've been at this now for about a year. Honestly, I think it was around December of 2020 when we submitted our RFP, and we assembled a all-inclusive, diverse team from both design and professional services standpoint, alongside our construction team, led by STV and Ross Barney Architects, as far as the engineering and the architecture goes. On the right side of the screen, you will see all of our other sub-consultants who have joined us throughout this effort. And this has been a monumental effort here to get to where we are today, but we're pleased to announce that in the first quarter of 2022, we're going to be on pace to start construction. So all of our efforts thus far have led to this point, to let everybody know where we are with the purchasing and procurement efforts. And ultimately, we will then transition and shift to all of the workforce elements, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. So this is our team today. I'm going to let Charles Freeman, who's our Senior Project Manager for CTA, talk to you a little bit about what this project actually is. So Charles, you want to take it away?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Charles Freeman. I'm the Senior Project Manager with the CTA Construction. To give you a little project overview about what we're building here, this is a non-revenue vehicle maintenance facility. What we mean by non-revenue, we mean by cars and trains and equipment that occupy the tracks that passengers do not ride on. So for instance, we have snow moving machines that run along the tracks. We have gauge alignment machines to keep the tracks in a certain distance from one another. We also have tie pullers, those types of things that pull ties from out underneath the tracks and replace them. That type of equipment has to have a special facility to be maintained. This project is going to provide us with a facility whereby we can make the maintenance adjustments that we need for the equipment. A little bit of the history about the project is we did have a facility like that. It had been in use for about 50 years. And then in 2009, CTA demolished that facility that was across the street in the 61st yard. It had been there since the 1890s. CTA had been using it since about the 50s. And the building was dated, the services to it were dated, and we needed a new facility. We relocated those services in 2009 up to our Skokie shops, which also maintain and keep our rail revenue cars up and running as well. So the Skokie shop is jam-packed, has been for several years now, and the shop personnel have been crying for their own facility where they can separate this non-revenue equipment from our revenue equipment. Next slide, please. As you can see here in the image, this is that tie puller that I mentioned that actually removes ties from underneath the railroad tracks and reinstalls brand new ties under there and sweeps the ballast up around those ties to keep the tracks in alignment and to keep the tracks level and to keep the tracks running smoothly for our trains. The purpose, I talked a little bit about the purpose of this facility earlier, to provide the space and equipment that we require to inspect and maintain the equipment. This particular shop is going to be able to facilitate us the ability to work on up to 16 vehicles at the same time. We'll be able to rebuild equipment. We'll be able to manufacture our own parts. We'll be able to clean the equipment prior to maintenance activities. We'll be able to clean it after it's been out on the tracks and accumulated the day's work. So we'll be able to shorten the downtime for this maintenance equipment. We'll also have in the same space a warehouse that we store other materials that come in through the CTA that get distributed throughout the system. So just once again to reiterate, this project is located at 63rd and King Drive, basically 317 East 63rd Street is the address. And we're looking forward to bringing a brand new project to the community. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jenny Davis from Clark Construction, and she'll get a little bit into the construction of the project itself.
Morning, everybody. Again, I'm Jenny Davis. I'm the project executive for the design builder for this project. Like Charles and Java said, we're going to go over a little bit of the elements of the building and the construction of the building. And again, we're excited to get started in early 2022. On this slide, you can see the yard that is there today. Charles had it on the previous slide. The north side is 63rd Street and bordered by Calumet. You can see in the blue box there is the actual new building, the new facility, as well as the other two little blue boxes are some off-site buildings with storage shelters with some open fencing. So that gives you kind of an overview of the yard and where our building's going to be placed and the activities that we are going to be doing in that area. Just to the south of the building are the train tracks, which is, I'm trying to describe it. So north is to the right side of the page, and south is to where the triangle is. So our project site goes to the grade crossing, which is in the middle of the page. If we can get to the next slide, I'll describe some of the elements here. So as you can see in the lower right corner, the building looks like it's brick. It's actually a precast building with a brick facade, thin brick set into the precast, with windows all around the building, including roof monitors on top of the building to bring in natural lighting. You can also see on that picture the loading dock, the end of the loading dock there, which is the lower level of that building. I think these pictures give a good representation too of the landscaping that will be there. The upper right, or the upper pictures are actual photos of how the site looks now, which is basically a big empty lot, which is actually very good for construction to get started. I think the next slide is the rendering, so this will give you a little bit of a better picture. So we're constrained on the three sides of the building, obviously. So one is the elevated track that's servicing the yard. And then 63rd Street has the revenue tracks above the elevated tracks there. And then on the other side is Calumet Road, and that is Dulles Elementary right across the street. So as you can see from the building, I already described the precast. The skin of the building is precast. There's a modified bit roof. The mechanical systems are mostly on the roof. And the inside, which you don't see here, is basically a wide open structure, kind of like we described. It's a maintenance facility, a shop, so it's open. There's a lot of space. There's 4 tracks coming into it with maintenance pits below each of those tracks. There's mechanical rooms, there's a mezzanine, and then there's 1 classroom, 2 bathrooms, and a couple of offices. There's a welding shop, and the rest is, wide open for CTA to maintain these vehicles. So it's a structural steel building with precast facade, concrete slab, concrete elements, concrete mezzanine. Like I said, the rail is in there. There'll be painting, there's tiling, there's fire protection. Just trying to go through some of the elements in the building. But again, it's a maintenance facility. It's meant for CTA to have natural light in there and have a good environment for them to properly maintain these vehicles so they can maintain their tracks. Next slide. So the photo on the left was the original rendering. As you can see, the picture on the slide before has different kind of roof setup, but this gives you also a good overview of where we are. The other thing to note is the southern, I'm going to screw this up, but the other rail facility is to the west of our property. So I think that with this, I can turn it over to Javed to describe our goals and efforts here.
I think Chanel's next. Chanel, you want to take the next slide?
Oh, sorry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chanel Harmon, and I'm the coordinator for Small Business Development and Outreach in our Diversity Programs Department. And today I'll be covering our project goals. So first, for our DBE participation, the goals are set on our contract by contract basis. To be certified as a DBE, the business must be owned and controlled by a socially and economically disadvantaged individual. The personal net worth cannot exceed 1.32 million. The DBE goals for this contract include a 30% design goal and a 27% construction goal. The DBE must perform a commercially useful function and be certified through the Illinois UCP. The Illinois Unified Certification Program consists of 5 certifying agencies that include CTA, PACE, METRA, the Illinois Department of Transportation, and the City of Chicago. Moving along to our workforce goals, CTA places workforce participation goals on all major construction contracts. Our objective is to provide career opportunities in the trades and other construction-related jobs to communities usually underrepresented in the industry. The workforce goals CTA has established for contracts include a career opportunities goal, which targets hiring Section 3 and WIOA registered individuals, an apprenticeship goal, which targets hiring union apprentices, and an economically disadvantaged area goal, which targets the hiring of residents within zip codes with the median income of $40,000 or less. The workforce goals for this contract include a 10% apprenticeship goal, a 10% apprenticeship goal, and a 35% EDA goal. Additional goals include a minority participation goal of 19.6% and a female participation goal of 6.9%. And with that, I'll pass it along to Javed.
Thanks, Chanel. So kind of back to where we started, you can see that from really the beginning of this year, 2021, we were formally awarded the project, and over the course of this entire year and into first part of next year, the effort's mainly been on the design and pre-construction side, and then that's been alongside our design team, alongside CTA and all the stakeholders in order to make sure that, again, this project being a design build, everything is programmed to make sure that we fulfill the building's needs, and everything from a schedule, constructability, cost, all those elements are captured throughout this whole process. So what we're excited about is the beginning of 2022 when we can actually now start construction, and that will extend for the better part of the year into early 2023. And so if we look at the next slide, we have, dating back to this summer, we had to make sure that our early trades, our critical bid packages were out for bid and awarded, with, especially in today's market with volatility, materials, all of the challenges that we're facing today in our industry. A lot of the long lead time items and the early critical trades, we had to get those on board. So you can see on the left the table that shows the key trades that have been awarded to date, and identifying the first tier DBEs, especially on the precast, structural steel, and glass and glazing, all very, very significant trades for this project. We also have our mechanical and electrical firms selected, who will be taking second tier DBEs as part of their overall utilization plan. So anybody on the call who works in the mechanical trades, electrical and low voltage, we would encourage you to connect with Effie Moran and Aldridge Electric for opportunities within those scopes of work. And we can help to facilitate that as well. On the right, you'll see the table that shows the trades that we've taken bids on and we're currently under review with. This is, I would say, the next set of critical packages that we have to get under contract in order to make sure that our design gets completed, and especially if there's any lead time items, we can get those locked in before we start construction. So if you see your trade on the right, please make sure that you contacted us. I'm guessing some of you probably already are speaking with us as far as your scope reviews go, but that's the next set of critical key packages that we would be looking to get under award and contract. And then lastly, if we go to the next slide, you'll see everything that is upcoming and going out to bid here very soon. So the time frame on this, I mean, you'll probably see about 20 or so scopes of work, ranging from everything from the masonry all the way to the landscaping and site work elements. But you'll see a lot of the finished trades in this grouping. This is all going to happen here through the rest of this year, so only a few weeks left until we break for the holidays, and then wrapping up in January. So a very, very aggressive time period to try to award and buy the rest of these bid packages. So if you see these scopes related to your trade, make sure that you've reached out to us, make sure that you've had an opportunity to register. Everything that we submit is through Building Connected. I see a lot of familiar names here on the attendee list, many of whom have already registered with us, already have pre-qualification with Clark. Many of you have bid to us before. Some of you actually were maybe involved in some of the early budgeting back in 2020 and earlier this year. So this is the last step. We want to make sure that we get all of these bid packages awarded and under contract here over the next, I would say, 4 to 8 weeks. And this is going to be a race to the finish to make sure all of our subs are on board here before we start construction. Jenny, anything else as far as the bid packages go?
No, just reiterating that get in touch with us ASAP, because it is moving fast.
Right. So next slide, please. Those of you that attended our prior DBE sessions earlier this year, you probably saw this flow chart. I mean, ultimately, we are at stage 4 here. We're at that last bubble with the procurement process. So everything's been communicated up to this point as far as the bids go. And so we are at the stage of bidding, scoping, recommending, and awarding. And once we get through that last set of bid packages, we're going to be at the stage where our subcontractor process will quickly shift over to our workforce process, which is what you're going to see here on the next slide. And this is going to be very important here at the start of 2022. Once we receive our permit, once we get to the point where we are ready to start work, that's when our candidate intake process will begin. Let me take a step back here. Workforce commitments. Chanel talked a lot about the elements of the workforce goals for this project. And while those are going to be contractually obligated for all the subcontractors on this project, the main thing that we're going to want to promote is local participation. This is in the 20th Ward. This is on the south side. This is in an area where we really want to help promote opportunities for the workers in that local area and the surrounding wards and the surrounding zip codes. So there's going to be a process for intake. This isn't just hiring at the gate. That's not going to be how this goes. There's going to be a formal process of candidate intake that's going to be based on community referrals and through resources from our assist agencies, especially Hire 360, who's been engaged with us since the beginning of the project. They will help to assess candidates as they come through, and a lot of it will relate to prior experience, current union affiliation, job preparedness, and they will help with the placement efforts. And that could mean pre-apprenticeship, that could mean immediate placement with subcontractors, that could mean additional training. So there's different paths, but this flow chart helps to clarify what those steps are going to be. We're going to hold a dedicated workforce outreach to introduce the community to Hire 360, to our assist agency partners, and to explain the process a little bit more and to help with understanding what that intake and assessment process will look like and what those paths would be. At that time, we will have all of our subcontractors on board. So more importantly, you would then have a chance to connect with our mechanical, with our electrical, with our concrete, with the various firms and the key subcontractors who are actually going to be on the project performing the work. So stay tuned. This is going to be something that we're going to focus on in Q1. Next slide, Chanel. this map gives you a little bit of a better idea of where our focus market is going to be. So as I mentioned, the 20th Ward and surrounding communities, that's really going to be tier 1 for us. Obviously, we'll be able to expand that into more economically disadvantaged zones, ultimately in order to satisfy the contractual goals that CTA has and that Clark will employ. It's not just limited to the surrounding area, but that certainly wants to be our primary focus, and then ultimately expand that throughout the rest of the city. Next slide. I just want to recognize a few of the community partners who we have been introduced to and who will be an important part of that process. So as we wrap up our subcontracting, bid packages, DBE participation, we're going to look to lean not just on Hire 360, but some of the community partners to help with those community referrals, and they'll play a more integral role as we get into the start of the project. A couple of contacts here for Hire 360. Again, this will be a key area for us to connect with at the start of the year. But again, just want to recognize Hire 360 as one of our community partners here with respect to not just the subcontracting, but more importantly, the trade and workforce resource. Next slide. Of course, I think many of you are familiar with the assist agencies that are very much active in our community. Some of these will focus more on the DBE and have been focused on the MBE and DBE outreach elements, especially when we were first out back over the summer. And then some will be more active on the workforce side. So this is a good cross-section of some of the partnerships that we've established in the community. And ultimately, when it comes to the referrals, we're going to lean on many of these groups to feed us with candidates who are eligible to work on the project. Next slide. We've partnered with International Bank of Chicago for two elements. One for project payment, and secondly for their small business loan program. For any subcontractors who are looking for assistance in the financial elements, whether it be line of credit, whether it be small business loans, whether it be bonding, and especially in partnership with the Community Insurance Center, Matt Cooper's firm. These are two resources that we are connected with to help with obtaining those financial capabilities and those financial resources. Especially with International Bank, they have dedicated a specific small business loan program for this project. And what that means is it'll ultimately be at no cost to subcontractors in order to come up with an opportunity for applying for a loan with International Bank. Usually there's a small percentage of loan fees. Those are ultimately captured by our team and by International Bank for the purposes of this project. So another added incentive to participate with the team here. Next slide. And lastly, I want to promote our strategic partnership program, which we're currently in the middle of the 2021-22 season now. The next slide will kind of give a little bit of details about what the SPP is. I think actually I see some familiar faces of some of our graduates from prior years, but this is Clark's unique small business mentoring program, which covers the range of topics that you see over a 6-month period starting in the fall and concluding in the spring. So this project will extend into 2022 and 23. We would like to encourage that subcontractors who are looking to get involved in this project help themselves with the elements of small business fundamentals, construction fundamentals, and all the topics that you see here that are taught by our staff and third-party partners. We've partnered with CTA now through their small business educational series. Gosh, Juan Pablo, it's been now 5 years, 6 years. But since the inauguration of CTA's Small Business Educational Series. We've hosted our SPP in tandem with that and given a sneak peek as to some of the topics that we teach. And it's been great because firms that are looking to get certified with CTA, firms looking to do business with CTA, many times are also looking to do business with general contractors like Clark and some of our peers in the industry. So it essentially is an opportunity to tackle 2 for 1, a chance to get introduced to and work with CTA, and an opportunity to work with us. So registration for this will open in the spring. So there will be more opportunities for you to take a look at getting enrolled with our program. April will be the graduation of this current class, but then in second quarter and third quarter, we'll begin our recruiting and enrollment process, and then kicking off again in September. Everything currently is virtual. We were virtual last year, we're virtual this year. Fingers crossed that we will be able to host in-person classes. There's definitely a level of value that you get when you get to be face-to-face, side-by-side, working together. Our classes are once a week, every Wednesday evening from 6 to 9 p.m. Historically, we had our classes at the Chicago Urban League. And so once we determine what the logistics are for next year, we will see where we can go from there, whether it be virtual, whether it be in person, or a hybrid of both. So I want to conclude again with sharing our contact information for everybody here on the CTA and Clark team. Any questions, please reach out to any of us. We'll, be able to answer anything related to subcontracting, workforce, project details, project information, but this is your team going forward. So with that.
Again, I would like to thank everyone for attending this morning. We do have time for questions and answers, so if you'd like to either raise your hand, Chanel can unmute you, or if you'd like to type your question into the chat or the Q&A function. The team is definitely open for questions. Like I said earlier, we want you all to have as much information as possible so you can compete for these opportunities. So any questions out there?
Hi, I looked at this project, I think it was sometime last year. I went through, my company is S&M Plow Corp. We do commercial, we do landscaping. And so I was interested in like the tree planting and all of that. And I thought this had already had gone out to bid or something. And so now I'm still wondering if the landscaping is something that we could still get in on.
Definitely. This is Jenny. It just went out to bid. Can you send me your contact information? I'll make sure you're added to Building Connected.
Sure, I will do that.
Good to see you, Joyce. I want to recognize Joyce as one of our SPP graduates.
Yeah, I saw myself on the picture there. Okay.
Thank you, Joyce, for your question, and thank you for participating in SPP. I don't know if you've participated in our Small Business Educational Series, but thanks, Javed, for the plug. Anyone who's interested in that, definitely reach out to Chanel. We're putting out I think we have advertised already our next class, which will start up in February.
Okay.
Next.
Go ahead, Chanel.
Next, we have a question from Nina. Who is the contact at Clark for submitting electrical second tier DBE bids?
Those will go to Aldridge. Aldridge is controlling their DBE participation. I don't have the contact person on me for Aldridge at this time.
How about we follow up with Chanel? I'm assuming you're going to distribute everything to the attendees.
Yes.
We will get a point of contact for Aldridge to share with anybody who is looking for second tier electrical opportunities. And that'll be the same for FB Moran too. It looks like there's a question for BAS controls. So we'll get a point of contact for F.E. Moran, point of contact for Aldridge for opportunities with their subcontracting.
Okay, my next question is, how could we get the bid package for ornamental?
Is that ornamental fencing?
Probably ornamental Miss Metals is what I'm guessing. Is that ornamental fencing or ornamental Miss Metals? Ornamental Miss Metals.
Metals, yeah.
So that's just about to go out to bid. So send us the contact info and we can get you into Building Connected.
Yep.
Says, can you clarify if F.E. Warren and Aldridge Electric are still looking for DBE subcontractors for BAS controls?
I would have to check with them specifically if it's for BAS controls or other portions of their work. But we can, like we said, we'll get the contact info for the person at F.E. Moran and the person at Aldridge to talk to.
Next, it says, are you still taking bids for the plumbing scope for the project for both prime and second tier?
Curtis, I think plumbing is we've already taken numbers for that, and
We've taken numbers, yeah.
and it's close to award. Feel free to reach out to us directly so that we can let you know who the primes are on the plumbing.
And our company participated with Hewitt during the initial ITB. How can we get involved?
What scope in particular? I think the short answer is we'd like to just, first and foremost, get your contact info, get it into Building Connected, and I don't know what your particular scope of work is. If there's still an opportunity with some of those upcoming bid packages, then absolutely, you can certainly have the chance to bid on those. If it's something that's already been awarded, I would say, we want to make sure we have you as part of our bidding group for future bids.
Okay, next is, are you still accepting bids for the masonry scope?
I think that's coming up to bid, right?
No, we've gotten, we're still getting numbers in right now. So that scope has gone out to bid.
So Richard, you're gonna need to, you should have actually gotten an invitation, because I know you're in the Building Connected system. So there'll be most likely a point of contact on that invitation to bid. Reach out to that individual ASAP to discuss scope and pricing.
As well, yeah.
We also had one in the chat, I think we didn't address yet. Will there be opportunity for janitorial services?
I don't know the answer. I think the answer would be yes, because typically that would be under final clean. So we would have a final clean, professional services firm, probably late during.
Yeah, that'll be late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't see that as part of the upcoming bid packages, because typically that's something that gets awarded afterwards. So yes, there's an opportunity. Please share your contact info with us so we can make sure to reach back out to you. My guess is that'll probably be sometime during the project.
Yeah, later.
Next question is, when would the painting scope happen? Q1 2023, please provide an estimate.
Oh, the painting, the actual construction, schedule, probably between fall and winter of, 22 to 23.
For DBE subs. I don't know if they have a firm deadline, but I would say as soon as possible because design's continuing, engineering is continuing, and for both electrical and mechanical, they're gonna need to get all of their utilization plan in place. So we will get those contacts to CTA today, we'll get distributed, and we'll get that, make sure that you'll have a chance to connect with them directly.
Someone asked, when are the masonry bids due?
They were due last Friday, but again, we've had a couple stragglers, so we can get that package to you.
Top priority, Richard.
Next, I saw that there is a bid package for the loading dock equipment.
That should be one of the upcoming bid packages, so.
Yeah, that hasn't gone out.
So those will be on the lookout for that. Joseph, if you are registered in Building Connected, then you'll see an invitation to bid. If you are not, make sure you get your contact info to us.
And the follow-up to that question is there a bid package for the overhead ceiling doors as well?
Yes, we're getting ready to publish that. That hasn't been published yet.
Thank you everyone for all of your questions. Are there any other questions out there? Either raise your hand, we can unmute you, put in the Q&A or the chat. Sounds like from what Javed and Jenny are saying, make sure that you connect with them. Chanel, can you put the contact page back up? The previous slide here. So you've got, oh, there you go. So you've got Javed and Jenny's contact information. Make sure you take that down, send them an email, introduce yourself. If you're not already familiar with them, you should definitely be adding them as part of your network. Clark not only has CTA projects, but other private and public projects. So, you know, we definitely want you to work on CTA projects, but we also want you to look for opportunities elsewhere as well to diversify your portfolio. It sounds like Javed and Jenny keep saying, get on Business Connect. Let's get you registered on Business Connect so that you can receive all those solicitations that they put out. So please make sure to contact them as soon as you can if you're not already in contact with them. We're not seeing any other questions. Again, I'd like to thank the CTA and Clark teams for helping put this together. And to all our participants, thank you for jumping on today. We will follow up with an email with the contact information for the subprimes that Clark has that are looking for DBE sub-tier primes or sub-tier contractors. And then this recording, like I said, will be posted shortly, probably late this week, if not early next week, on our YouTube channel, CTA Doors Opening.